In this video, we're going to look at another strict sequencing logic game, and we'll try to map out the sketch here and then answer some of the questions. But first things first, let's just make sure that we understand why this would be a strict sequencing game. Look what we have here. 7 consecutive time slots, etc., will be filled by 6 tapes and exactly 1 news tape. So we have 7 things going in 7 slots. Each tape is to be assigned to a different time slot, and no tape is longer than, that's kind of weird, any longer tape following restrictions. Okay, so we have 7 slots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have 7 things that have to be fit in there, and each tape is to be assigned to a different time slot. So we have a list of things, and then also the list of things that can go in there, they cannot be repeated. So that is a strict sequencing. So let's make a list of, okay, what are our players here? We have G, H, L, O, P, S, G, H, L, O, P, S, and then they said, and 1 news tape. I'm going to put that as N, because I'm just that original. You don't have to go quite this far, but I'm just for the sake of the video, let's number these slots here. Okay, and then what does it say? It says each tape, has to be put in 1 space, and then what are the rules here? Let me switch this up. Number 1, it says L must be played immediately before O. So that means we have a block. L has to go right in front of O. No space in between. Okay, there's rule number 1. Rule number 2, the news tape must be played sometime after L. So that can be written like this, right? Some place after the L, we know that there's N, but we don't know how many spaces. So that's all that we can do there. Rule 3, there must be exactly 2 time slots between G and P, regardless of whether G comes before P or whether G comes after P. All right, so kind of unpack this. It's a little bit wordy. But basically we're saying that we have to have G, there's 2 spaces that separate G and P, but we don't know which comes first. So there's 2 ways that we could write this. We could write this something like this. We could say G space space P, and then or P space space G, right? That's completely acceptable. But what I like to do, just me personally, just as a shorthand, when it's not clear which piece is supposed to come first, I write it like this. I do G slash P space space G slash P. It does not matter. It's entirely up to you what makes the most sense to you, what you want to go with, but this is just what I would personally do. Or you can, just do that. But the key takeaway is that we have P and G separated, though we don't know which order they're in, and there's 2 spaces in between them. Okay. And that's it, right? That's, fairly straightforward in terms of deciphering the rules. But then the last step that we want to do is see if we can combine our rules to form, basically, master rules. Well, let me just look at this one. For 1 and 2, we do have L appearing in both of them. So that suggests I could combine these rules here to get me to my purple master rule. Should look something like this. We have L, O, dot, 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 N. Right? If you think about that, we need to have O right after L, but we know N has to come somewhere after L, so putting those together, that's what we get. And then the other master rule, well, there's really nothing we can do here. We can't, G and P don't appear in any of the other rules, so we just kind of have to leave that go. Space, space, GP. And there we have it. So basically, here's our scenario. We've got these rules here, and then, these are the players, and here's what we can do. And we could probably make a few deductions. Let's just do this for a minute. I like to start with the blocks, where we have one thing right next to each other, to another. I'm going to switch this up. Let's put this in green. Well, because think about this. We know that there has to be an L behind the O, so I can't put O here, because there's no space for O, to have something behind it. So that's not going to work. By the same logic, I cannot put an N over here. Just think about that. Because look at N. N has to have 2 things behind it, at minimum. So that's not going to work. I also couldn't, for the same reason, can't put N over here. What else could we do? We can go to the other side here, where we could say, well, I can't put L over here, because it needs to have at least an O and an N after it, so that's not going to work. I also cannot put L over here because there's not 2 spaces minimum to go after it. Also, I could not put O over here because I don't have space to have an N after it, and I think that's as far as I can really go, at least with this first rule, right? There's not a whole lot that I can do. And then for the second rule, here's where we really can't make much of a deduction from the sketch here, is just because they didn't specify which goes first, the G or the P, right? If I had the rule where it said G / P, I would know that, oh, okay, I have to, G has to be at least, it has to, has to be exactly 3 spaces behind P, which would indicate there's a whole bunch of places where G or P could not be, looking at the ends there. But because it's not specified which one has to come first, there's really nothing I can do. So I think that's as far as we can go in making our master sketch. I'm going to pause the video. The next video, what I'm going to do is then take this and tackle some of the problems. But pause this if my sketch did not make sense to you.